Hi, today I'm going to do a really highly requested look, and it's of this makeup look that I did for Nicole Richie for the cover of InStyle magazine. It was funny because I had a couple of emails asking me to do the look before I'd even seen the magazine. I think they must have been subscribers and got an early copy. So I kind of rushed out and bought it, and since then I put it on my blog, and loads of people have requested it. It's quite a nice look because it's a strong look for her. Her hair's obviously really dark as well at the moment, and it's this sort of really deep plum, sort of slightly shimmery, slightly glittery, with really dark shading at the outer corners, natural skin and a nude mouth. So let's get on with the look. I'm going to start with the eyes because I'm using glitter and I'm going to be using lots of powdered eyeshadow, so I'm going to crack straight on with them and do my base afterwards. I've put a little bit of Urban Decay Primer Potion on my lids just because there's quite a lot of stuff that I'm going to be using. I'm going to start with a Paint Pot Artifact. This is a really quite nice rich plum colour, and I'm just going to lay that down flat. So I'm using a concealer brush, so a flat synthetic brush, because I want to get as much of this on as possible. And I'm going to use it all over my eyelids, up to about my socket line, so up to about here. So that's the colour all over both eyes. Now I'm going to use a MAC 217 just to take off those edges a little bit, so just to start blending and smoothing the edges. And also I think I need to just come up a fraction in the centre there. So I'm just finishing off a final bit of blending in. I think I chose to do this look on her firstly because she's got enormous eyes, Nicole, beautiful eyes, and the shoot was sort of lots of really dark plum colours and sort of sludgy autumnal shades, and some of the backdrops were plum, so I thought this kind of colour would work really well, and also I thought it would be, you know, she has the features to sort of carry it off. Next I'm going to use Graphology, which is by MAC, and it's a really super matte, very dark grey purple sort of colour. A sort of blue undertone, and I'm going to use the same MAC 217, and I'm just going to start adding this at the outer corner, so it's not all the way along the socket line because I didn't use it in that way. I just used it really at this outer half here, and also onto the lid there. So now I've got I'm going to start just blending that in. Now obviously my eye shape is completely different to Nicole's, so you have to bear that in mind. I haven't got as much space really from here to here as she has. So with Nicole I kind of came straight out here, but I'm not going to be able to do that, and I think you have to really think about adapting it to suit the shape of your eye. So for me, I'm not going to be able to come up quite as far as I did with her, and I'm just going to extend it out to about there. So I finished the Graphology colour there, and it's a bit like it's sort of from the halfway point, it's sort of all the plum here, and then from about here the depth starts just to the outer corner there. And next I'm going to put some Blacktrack liner from MAC. I'm going to start by using it just on the waterline there a little bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it really thin tracing along where the plum colour is, and then we get to where the Graphology starts and really thicken it up a lot. So from this point on I'm going to really thicken up this line so it becomes like a makeup of two halves. You've got the sort of light half, or the colourful half rather, and the dark half. I'm not going to wing it out when I get to the edge. Instead of that, thicken that up a bit more. I'm just going to start tracing underneath. And the line underneath is very much going to mirror the line above, so it's going to be quite thick just to where the dark shadow is, and then it's going to disappear to nothing into the inner half. I'm going to use the gel liner all the way along the waterline as well, making sure it's nice and thin at this inner corner. So using Graphology again and a small smoky liner brush, I'm just going to start to really smudge the line in there, especially at the outer corner where it's quite thick. And then as it comes into the inner corner, I just want that seamless sort of transition from the thin line into the thicker line. And the same on top as well, just smudging the thicker line there. So the next thing I did on Nicole's eyes was to use this really vibrant pink colour, and this is from a Quartet by Jemma Kid. It's Plum Quartet, and I used it just to kind of pop out the pink bit. You sort of almost don't need to, you could just leave it and go on to the next stage, but I'm just showing you exactly what I did. And just by adding this over the top, all over the lid, and especially to the inner corner, it just sort of popped out the pinkness of the plum. And then to finish off, so as I say, you can leave that stage if you want. And here's Betty. Come on then. She's coming into the film. Come on then. You add, it's very pink. It's a matte glitter, and it's a really lovely raspberry colour. Right, excusez-moi. There you go, Betty. Do you like this look? Right, I think you can go now. Right, so it's very pink glitter. Now I'm going to have to wipe my hands because I've got hair all over them. You just get a wipe. So next step is MAC glitter, and this is very pink, so it's a really lovely raspberry pink. It's actually called very pink because it's a nice fine glitter. You could just use the heat of your finger just to lift it, and then just begin patting and packing that glitter on just over the really plummy bit. And it's amazing, it's not, because it's really fine, it doesn't give a glittery look. In a way, it just gives a sort of life to the plum colour. And don't put it over the outer edge, leave that nice and dark, just literally on the eyelid and the inner half there. So the next thing to do is to clean up all of the mess that's been created. I'm using my Bioderma. I was working in Monaco and Paris last week, so I stocked up on lots of bottles of it. So before I finish off my eyes, I'm going to do my base, and the look I did on Nicole was really natural looking skin, so it wasn't very foundation-y, because the whole point is that the eyes are really the focus of the look. So I'm just going to use some Hydra Life, which is the skin tint by Dior, so it's a tinted moisturiser really. I'm just going to apply that just to really smooth out my skin, but not to give a heavy coverage. I'm going to take it slightly onto my lips just because there's going to be a pale lip coming. And just doing a little bit of concealing as well under my eyes and any various little spots, although my skin is a lot better than it was a few days ago. All my little spots have gone. I'm going to use some Jurlique powder because this is a tinted moisturiser and my skin's quite oily, so I need to set with powder, but I'm just mainly going to keep it down the centre of my face on my T-zone. I'm going to put a tiny bit of powder, just what's left on the brush, just here, because I'm going to use a little bit of bronzer, sculpting, so I'm just going to give that a nice smooth finish, but hardly any at all. Okay, so next I'm going to do finish off my eyes. I didn't really use very much mascara on Nicole because no mascara is a really big trend for this autumn winter, and it is a trend, so I mean only attempt it if it suits you. For me, if I was wearing this look, I would definitely wear mascara. So I'm just going to put a little bit on. With Nicole, I put a little bit on the bottom and a little bit on the top, but I didn't kind of make it, wasn't very, very lashy. And the other thing I suggest actually with this shape, for me, I would probably put just a couple of lashes on the outer corner just to kind of emphasize this dark half of the eye makeup. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use a little bit of false lash effect just through the tops, but not tons and tons. So for the lashes, I'm going to use these partial flares by Uemura. So they're little groups of lashes that there's about 5 little bunches of individuals in each little section, and I find these are really good just if you want to slightly emphasize the outer corner of your eye makeup. And if you do want some tips on how to apply fake lashes or individual lashes, I have done a video, so have a look at that. So I'm just going to drop them right at the outer corner there and just push them into place. They just lift up that sort of wing, emphasize that winged effect. So while that glue's drying, I'm just going to use a little bit of brow powder. I'm going to use Suqqu brow powder. I didn't really make a big statement of Nicole's eyebrows. They're a nice shape anyway, and I just slightly emphasize them and fill them in a little bit. But because, as I say, the eye makeup is pretty strong and quite fierce, you don't really need a kind of overly done brow with this, so just fill in the gaps. I didn't use any blusher on Nicole. If you really need blusher, then obviously make this look work for you and put blusher on. I used just a little bit of bronzer as a sculptor. I'm going to use this one, which is Bobbi Brown Light, so it's quite a light and also a matte one today. I'm not going to do too sculpty on me because my face is obviously a little bit thin in the lower half, so I'll give myself a little bit of definition, but I'm also just going to bring it slightly on to the cheek there as well, just to keep it really soft. And I think with this look, it is all about adapting it to suit your face and your eyes. Just subtle little changes. I mean, you can make it look exactly like it did on the magazine cover, but you know, if you just have to maybe change slightly the shape at the outer corner, not go up quite as high, depending on the shape of your eyes. And also, if you've got small eyes, you know, I would suggest that rather than using the black liner on the inner rim and all the black around, you could use a graphite-y grey, something that's grey and maybe got a little bit of shimmer in, because that will help to keep the eye more open. So just really adapt the kind of whole look to suit you. Last but not least, the lips. And the lips on Nicole were very kind of natural, a little bit warm, but very much a natural look. I'm going to start by using Chanel lip pencil in Beige. I'm not going to do it as a line, just as a little bit of definition, simply because I personally don't suit a really, really pale lip. I'm going to use a Revlon colour. It's from one of my palettes. It's Revlon Matte 001, and I'm just going to pat it on. And if you want to, obviously you can add a bit of shine if you need it. I'm just going to keep it quite sort of flat like that. So that is the look. I think it's a really nice look because it's very autumnal, it's quite strong, it's definitely kind of all about the eye, so the eyes are really sort of the focus of the look. And I think the main thing to do is really to think about sort of adapting it, so the shape, you know, how far you come out here, how high you go up. It really needs to suit you, and if your eyes are small, as I say, don't sort of focus too much black close to the eye, and the same with the rest of the look. But I think especially with the sort of shimmery and the glitter, it's quite a fun look for evening. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.